It's Monday. You know what that means. Actually, no, you don't, because I haven't done this before. See, I'm Henry, and maybe you did already know that, but you didn't know that I'm making news videos on Mondays because this is the first one. So allow me to welcome you here into my apartment, where I will talk about the news, and hopefully you will enjoy it. This was, of course, the start of the new year, so it was admittedly a slow news week, but it is still a great week to start because it's the whole new year, new me thing, right? So new year, new me, new news. Let's get started. All right, first off, Spider-Man is getting a new costume in the pages of The Amazing Spider-Man. Designed by artist Dustin Weaver with input from writer Nick Spencer and editor Nick Lowe, Spidey is trading in his red and blue ensemble for a silver and blue ensemble with little orange accents. It is a very different look for the wall crawler, but it's not the first time that he has changed his costume. It's just the first time in a while. Nick Spencer took over as the writer for Amazing Spider-Man back in 2018, but before that, you know, Spidey would swap it out every now and then. The last time he did was Go Down Swinging, which is the story directly before Nick Spencer took over. And of course, you know, Spider-Man puts on the black costume like every other year for one book or another. I mean, he's doing it right now in Symbiotic Spider-Man. So this is hardly a new thing to do for Spider-Man, but it is a very different design, and it's going to be debuting in the pages of Amazing Spider-Man down the line in March. It's supposed to first pop up in issue number 61, and the art that we have for the cover of issue number 62 is what gives us this first new look. So we can look forward to it on the cover of issue 62 and 63. And it definitely caught a lot of eyes, got a lot of headlines, scared a lot of fans, but fans scare very easily. We're, you know, a cowardly and superstitious lot. So I'm not particularly surprised that this caused a controversy, but I think it's pretty cool. You know, it's gonna sell comics and it's gonna sell toys. Like, this stuff happens. It's comics, you know, you kind of just move on with it. So I think it's neat, and yeah. Over at DC, the future of the DCEU has been laid out thanks to Walter Hamada, an executive producer for DC's films moving forward. In an interview with the New York Times, he talked about the general plan for DC's movies moving forward, and basically that DC is going to be releasing, hopefully, 4 feature films a year starting in 2022. Now, this is in addition to them exploring HBO Max as a way to distribute more movies featuring riskier characters that they can't guarantee are going to succeed in theaters. So that's where they're going to plan on putting Batgirl or Static, and that's a lot of content. That's a lot of stuff. And in order to make this possible, DC is going to be exploring the multiverse. Now, this was stuff that we kind of already figured out because we've got the continuity from the Joker movie, we've got the continuity from the upcoming Batman movie starring Robert Pattinson, and of course we have like Ben Affleck as Batman in Justice League. So we've got all these different timelines, and DC is planning on doing a multiverse. And the reason for this, Hamada said, is because they trust that audiences are smart enough to figure it out. They did the Crisis event on the CW Arrowverse TV shows back in 2018, and that stuff was very successful and very well received. People just understood the concept of different versions of characters in different universes, and I'm sure movies like Spider-Verse help make it pretty obvious that, you know, people can figure this stuff out. So I'm curious to see where it goes. I don't know how I feel about it. Of course, Warner Brothers threw a wrench into all of film basically by saying that they're going to be distributing all their movies for 2021 on HBO Max. So I don't know what to expect, honestly. It'll be interesting to watch it unfold, if nothing else. And he also said, Hamada, in his interview, that Zack Snyder's Justice League is just going to be an isolated project and does not reflect the plans of the greater DCEU moving forward. On a related note, actor Ray Fisher, when this interview was released, tweeted that he will not be involved in any projects that have Walter Hamada on them. There's a lot of animosity there, and this goes back to the allegations that Ray Fisher made against Jeff Johns and Walter Hamada from the set of Justice League. He had a lot of issues, and you can find that stuff pretty easily online. It's not great. It doesn't make anybody look particularly good. So I'm curious to see how that's going to impact Ray Fisher, and in particular how it's going to impact, if at all, Cyborg moving forward. Because if they've got a multiverse of storytelling, they could theoretically just make Cyborg exist in a different continuity without Ray Fisher. But it's also like a really, really bad PR move. So who knows what to expect. In more DC news, the first trailer was released for the upcoming Superman and Lois TV show that'll be debuting on the CW in February. The show is a spin-off of Supergirl and the other Arrowverse shows. Of course, Superman and Lois have been featured prominently throughout the CW Arrowverse, so this show has a lot of fan interest, and it is the first time that Superman's been on TV in his own TV show since the end of Smallville, so it's going to be very interesting. The teaser does show that it's going to be focusing a lot on Superman and Lois's family, which we saw back in the Crisis crossover storyline, the TV event version of it, and I'm very curious to see what this means, just because it's Superman on TV in a weekly format. A lot of people really like this version of the character, and while we wait to see what happens with Superman in film, this is really great, and I'm very interested to know that Superman has, you know, this fun, happy, family-friendly version of the character out in front of the public. I think that's really cool. And in the last bit of news that I have for you today, Marvel released a brand new short story featuring Hawkeye, the Kate Bishop Hawkeye, on their website. It is a prose story. It's a short story. It's not a comic book, but it is by Kelly Thompson, who wrote the Kate Bishop comic book for the better part of 2 years, and I loved that series, so it's really cool that they expanded on that by doing a little short story. It takes place during the pandemic, which is kind of neat because we haven't really gotten to see how these characters, the Marvel characters, actually react to the pandemic, so this gives us a little hint of that, and it's more content. It's something to, buy some time while we wait for the Hawkeye TV show. Of course, they've been filming the Hawkeye TV show. We know Kate Bishop is going to be a part of it, so I'm very curious to see what they do with the Hawkeye comic book moving forward. Like I said, I loved Kelly Thompson's run. I don't expect her to do the book again. Marvel generally puts a new creative team on the next book, but whatever happens with the future of Kate Bishop, I appreciate getting this little story, this little side quest. I think it's nice. It takes you 15 minutes to read. It's fun. So that's pretty much it for this installment of the news. It is the first Monday of the new year, so there isn't really a ton of news coming out. Everybody was celebrating the new year, the end of 2020, thankfully, the end of 2020. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot more stuff next week, so I'm going to be trying to put these out every single Monday. In the meantime, if you guys want to follow me, you can follow me at A White Cuban across social media. I appreciate you checking out this video, and I appreciate you trying something new and different with me. I want to experiment, I want to try new things, and I'm going to be doing a lot more of these, so they're really fun, they're easy. I appreciate that. It makes my life less stressful. Less stress is good. Less stress in 2021. That's the goal, right? So let me know which of these news stories sounded the most interesting to you. If you're a fan of the new Spider-Man costume, if you think all DC movies are stupid, if you think Kate Bishop is an amazing character, which you should think that, let me know in the comment section below, and tune in next week for a lot more comic book news.